All right. I think we are live. Yes, we are live. See that little red thing? How you doing, Danny?
Fine, thank you.
So it's
Hi, everybody.
no, it's 9 o'clock our time, right? And it
Yes.
is 7 o'clock at night your time. We're on the 24th. You're on the 24th too. Is that correct? Are you?
hmm
Yeah. So we're both on at least on the. It looks like there's about a 10-hour difference
Yes, 10 hours.
in our time. What's the flight out here when you got to come? How long does that take you?
15 and a half.
16 and a half hour flight.
15 and a half.
We tried to plan that one time to come out and see you, and we're going to make that happen one day where we get to come. I want to go to that. I want to go to that praying wall really bad. I really want to go there. So we're waiting for a couple more people. We got a few people tagging on here. We got 3 people so far, but we'll get more as time goes on. So I'm going to introduce you real quick so everybody can meet you that hasn't got to meet you. And so those that are watching, this is Danny Hazan. This is our Israeli Krav Maga instructor. If you got lucky to be in our schools with Bo and I, you've got to meet him and take class with him. So, we're lucky he's here joining us today from Israel. And so you guys can get a little bit, of his background and stuff like that. So let me start. Go ahead. Danny, why don't you go ahead and tell them, I've got your resume here, but I'll let you talk about your wife and your daughter and when you started your martial arts.
Okay, so I started martial arts at the age of 10. I started with karate Shotokan and with Krav Maga and Russian wrestling at the same time. And with the years, I joined to another more martial arts, and I got married when I was 23 to my wife Tali, and Ibo, and I have a daughter, Mor, and she recently got married with Zoom because yes, because we couldn't do any party. So hopefully when she comes back to Israel, because she's living now in Germany, she is working in Google, and hopefully when she will come to Israel, we will do something more official.
So you had to watch your daughter get married by Zoom, huh?
Even that, no, because she only sent us some pictures because they even didn't do any party there. They just go to the office, sign some papers, do some pictures, and that's it. So,
oh wow,
but, this is the Corona time, so everything is understood.
Yeah, this is definitely the Corona times. You almost need a Corona just to get through it. So, so Danny was talking. I was looking at your resume, so everybody has an understanding. You started at 10 years old. Started at the same time practicing all week Krav Maga. You have Shotokan. You got wrestling, and you started new martial arts. And it says here you currently hold 8 black belts in different styles. Why don't you let everybody know where your background lies?
Okay, I'm a black belt in kickboxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a second degree professor. I'm doing judo. I'm second dan in judo. I'm fourth dan in kobudo. Kobudo, it's an ancient weapon martial arts. I'm 8th dan in karate, 8th dan in Krav Maga. I'm doing my style, Sai Shokido, and he's now officially recognized all over the world. I don't know if I remember something else. But
well, sometimes we forget all the stuff that we've learned over the years because
yes.
You and I are, you're a few years younger than me. I mean, you're catching up to my tails, right? You're 57, I'm 59, and for one more month. But we were just talking off air a little bit. Why don't you go ahead and let them know about you have your academy in Israel. That's that's probably right. What's right behind you, right there, right? And why don't you go ahead and and talk about your military background and what you did and where you served?
I served in a unit called Sayeret Golani. It's like a little special forces unit, a very tough uh, and difficult place to be in. And I served there 3.5 years because usually in Israel, in my time, a soldier compulsory service is 3 years, was 3 years. But when I finished my 3 years, it started the Lebanon War, the first Lebanon War. And they asked us to stay another 6 months in the army and pay us as we are, as a, how we call it, I don't know, not as a regular soldier, but a higher salary.
Mm-hmm.
So I stay another 6 months because I had to be in the war. And in this kind of a unit, you are doing all kind of operation inside and outside of the Israeli border. When I finished my army, I started to teach special units in Israel in Krav Maga. Usually, I teach them the basic, but there is some units that are operating in Gaza Strip and they need special things to deal with. For example, one time they asked me how to teach the soldier how to deal with an axe.
Mm-hmm.
Because the terrorist had axe, and they didn't know how to manage with somebody is coming at you with an axe. So I left everything, and I was doing my trip to Gaza Strip and stay there 2 days and 2 nights. Teach them how to deal with an axe or with a big knife like machete, and that's one example. So this kind of unit, for example, must know how to disarm a gun when the first bullet will be up or down, and control the hand because one time there was suicide bomber with a button, with a
Right. With his with his pack
so
on.
you, so you must neutralize his hand, and you must do things that are very difficult for a regular man that not practicing. So this kind of stuff I teach in Israel. Then one day I just put one of my video in YouTube, and I started to get some invitation from all kind of masters from all over the world, and that was my first entry to another countries with my knowledge with my Krav Maga, and started to teach Krav Maga all kind of countries, also in your club, and some military, some civilians, and that's it.
Yeah, so I remember totally one time. So as everybody's kind of listening to you, you want as you talk about the Gaza Strip and how living in Israel when you are surrounded by somebody that wants to be taking you out every direction that you are, and knowing how to fight, and of course you had to serve in the military in Israel. I remember you teaching one time, and it said, I won't forget this, man. You were talking about teaching civilians. And you said this, you said, you don't understand. You train like you're Starbucks. You haven't really trained for war. Right. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget you saying that here. And so, we don't have an appreciation sometimes. My soldiers on that are here. Yeah. John Viverka's, he's at our one of our AKMA schools. He's you saw him say hi to you right there. He's a combat Marine that fought. And you got Carson Fortner. He's the other one from Georgia right there. He's the owner. You saw Bo this morning. He said hi to you. Brandon Kemmer's another one of our AKMF schools out here, one of my black belts. So they're all kind of on here saying hi to you right now. And so I thought that what we came to you. I think Bo has met you first. Bo and I had been talking that as far as Krav goes, we really were looking for, how it went here, that, there was different organizations and a split up in the Krav Maga, and we really wanted some kind of history from Israel in our background. And I know Bo had started finding you first, and then introducing me into it, and we talked for a while until we came underneath until you allowed us to be part of. I think we just had a really good gel. All of us have traditional background as far as martial arts goes, and so I think it was a good fit for sure. And so we got blessed to have you as our instructor from there, and of course we've got to have you out. And it's true, as you guys that are listening, that he has all over the world, he has this. And so EICMA is what your authentic Israeli Krav Maga, so everybody has an understanding that is what we're under that. And the AKMF is more our branch under you. And so everybody has a understanding. So, Emi, let's talk about now. Mr. Farbors is online this morning, just so you can say hi. You remember Mr. Farbors, right? You went to his studio with
good morning,
Sensei Benny Akitas. You took a lesson with Sensei. Remember that?
Of course.
Okay. How you doing, Mr. Farbors? So we went and I lost my train of thought. See, my instructor pops another one. I lost my train of thought. Unreal. So we looked as why don't you talk about your relationship, if you had one with Emi, or where you started your Krav, or was it with Emi's instructor is actually where your background in Krav Maga comes from? So why don't we touch on that real quick?
Okay, first of all, in Israel there is something we call it in Hebrew Gadna. Gadna, it's like a kind of military practicing of youth, of very young people, just to give them any direction of what will be when they will be in the army. So it's like a preparation. So it was when I was very young, and we had this Gadna, and that was my first relationship with Krav Maga. Then I started to learn with Eli Avigzar. Eli Avigzar is one of the first students of Emi Lichtenfeld. And Emi was teaching also in his dojo in Netanya, in Israel, and also in the military. He was the first official teacher of Krav Maga in the Israeli army, in the IDF. He was the first. He took Emi's Krav Maga, and he make order in everything, in the syllabus and everything, and he was the first teaching Krav Maga in the army. So I was related to Eli Avigzar with a lot of seminars and practice, because demographic, he was living something like 2.5 hours from me. I'm living in the north of Israel, near Lebanon and Syria border, and he was living in the center of Israel, Netanya. So in any occasion, I was going there and practice, seminars, training camp, all kind of things like that. And it was the first impression for me of really the concept of doing things simple, fast, and effective. And that way of thinking took me to think and develop the EICMA idea, the authentic Israeli. The idea of why I called it authentic is because with the year, a lot of organizations of Krav Maga made the Krav Maga something like, like McDonald's, like network of million students lot of money, lot of commercials, lot of cardio, and lot of shirts and symbols and everything, but a little bit real Krav Maga. And it was more than one or two or three times that I had to see students and instructors demonstrating Krav Maga, and I was in shock because I saw it was so far from the reality, so far from the logical behavior of a people with instincts when they want to fight, that I said the first thing I will do, I will call it authentic, because
Hmm.
because Krav Maga, if you will say only Krav Maga, everybody is doing Krav Maga. Not everybody doing real Krav Maga. And this is a very big difference. And you told me about what I told you when I came the first time about Israeli civilians and about the war and Starbucks. In Israel, it's like a period of time. You have 1 year of a lot of terror, you have 2 years of silence. So people in Israel are living all the time like like in standby, like in standby.
Yep.
You live your life in standby. You don't know when, how, and where something will happen. So the idea of making a civilian feeling the true feeling of fear in a reality situation, you must take him to the edge when you are teaching him. You cannot only show him a technique, sell him a shirt, give him a ticket or whatever, and say to him, you are a black belt. If he cannot deal with the real atmosphere, with the real adrenaline of fear, he will not react exactly as he should react when he will be in a real situation. So I was a lot of time in real situation in my life, even as a soldier and even as a civilian. And when you know the feeling, now you should learn how to pass over this feeling to your students, because you can be the most perfect instructor in the world, but if you don't know how to pass the real feeling of adrenaline and fear and courage to your students, nothing is matter. Because in a real time, you have only 1 second, and this
Right.
second is the only one that will make the difference between you stay alive or you are dead. So all the things uh, behind the Krav Maga, it doesn't matter. I don't give nothing. I don't give any attention of that. I'm just thinking about simple, effective, and fast. And I can give you a very beautiful example. One of my seminars with Bo, he asked me. I don't know if he's still on the.
Yeah, he's here. He's still with us.
He asked me, Danny, what can you do about third party situation when somebody is against the wall, somebody is stabbing him, and the third party have to take him from this position and save his life. So before I showed him my technique, I asked him what he have learned to do. So he said he have learned to take the hand from behind, from here, and to pull. So I took a man, I think he was 2 meter high,
Hmm.
and I said to Bo, now take his hand. And Bo obviously saw that it doesn't logical. And then you remember I started to teach you this little simple thing
Yep.
to the eyes when you do it, and it was falling like a timber, boom.
Yep. I
So
remember.
so that's the idea of doing simple things, not only because they are simple and they are very easy to learn, but because they are the real things that will save your life in a real time situation.
Yeah, I think that's that was always been eye opening for Bo and I when you've come out, and the simplicity that you put into Krav Maga, not making it it's got to be something, and including myself. It looks like we have Joe online too. Joe's another combat. He's the one that he's a ranger in the army. He's a 20-year combat vet himself. I think he's online also. Um, and he's the
Nice
one
to
that
meet
we
you,
go.
Joe.
Yeah, we go with his units. He's looking forward to meeting you, for sure. And we spoke about that because when we go teach when we go teach guys, we only have a week with them, so it's not like some of them can't even punch right, let alone do techniques right. So you have to put them under stress, and you have to make sure that. And we always like the simplicity of what it is that your Krav Maga offered, and we're so lucky. We are really blessed. It's not even luck; it's just a blessing that we have you as
Bruce,
one of
thank you.
our main instructors. We really do, look up to that and don't take that for granted. And just listening to you speak, I know we have at least 20 people right now at shows online listening to us, um, and whoever's going to come on after this and listen to this a little bit. But it's obvious that you live in a different. You're not only fighting COVID over there. It's just like you said. You in Israel, you're living minute to minute. You just don't know what's going to happen. And some of the other stories that we have from you has been eye-opening, to say the least, about what people and how you have to live. You know what I mean? And why this is real and why it needs to be simple. And it's always I don't know what the word is I'm trying to say, but eye-opening, I guess, is what I'm saying, because we do live in such a a blessed place for sure, uh, where we don't have somebody trying to take us out every other day. So I got a couple other things for you. So, in your own words, Mr. Hazan, tell me what do you think? What's the martial arts meant to you over all these years? Having your academy now and having people like Bo and I with you.
I cannot say that martial arts it's something that I can speak about it because martial art it's me.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of me. It's part of my bones and my soul. Because I think that whatever I'm doing now, whatever I'm reacting to all kind of situation in my life, even in my personal life, all came from martial arts. You know, people say to me, "Why you are speaking so quiet? Why you are speaking slow? Why you are always smiling? Why everybody is panic and you are smiling? Why everybody is so fear and you are thinking about the next step?" So martial arts is something that it's in you and it's growing and it's growing and growing and growing and it's take more and more place from your life until it is your life. That's what I feel about martial arts because I think I had so many dangerous situations when I was a soldier in special operations, and I think not only because the skills, but because the mentality. If you have skills but you don't have the mentality to use them, they are useless.
100%. That's true.
So I think the martial arts, first of all, before they give you the skills, they give you the tools how to use them in a real situation. Because you can be the best kicker or the best puncher in the world. But when you will be alone at night and somebody will jump at you with an axe or with machete or with a chain or a chair and will scream and will run it to you like a truck, let's see how you react.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if your kick or punch will be something special or something useless. So the idea is not your skills, your body condition. No, it's something that can help you, but it can help you only if you have the ability to take it and to translate it to something something that you do in a real time. So martial arts, people must understand. Martial arts, it's not about your body skills. It's not about your physique. It's about your passion, your soul, your state of mind, your way of thinking, your mentality, and your character. It's building your character from zero. And it's like not only building your character, it's only cleaning by while you are building your character, you are only cleaning the bad things from your life, and you start to collect only good things to your life, and that's make you what you are. Because I don't know many people, for example, there is a lot of violence inside the family in
Right.
Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about many martial arts, if any, that will raise a hand on his wife, for example, or on his children, because the martial arts teach him not to do that, teach him to avoid this kind of life, even if he was very hot tempered.
Right. Hot tempered, aggressive. Yes.
Even so,
Mm-hmm.
martial arts will give him the tools how to take it and to make it something good. So I can speak about one one day without any stop about what martial arts gave me. But to make it short, I think martial arts it's what I am into, what I am today. So
Yeah, I think I say same sentiment as you. When I first started, I thought it would make me a little bit of more of a badass than I thought I was at that time, and it did just kind of the opposite, because it was kind of eye opening as we go on in what and the lessons learned, and then as a teacher, right, our lessons are even different, right, as you develop students, and then now you're a teacher's teacher now, so you're leading us that have organizations underneath you, and still, you know, we're definitely uh, built from the same cloth as far as that goes. I think everybody here will attest to it. Brandon, I think he agreed. If any of you guys that are online, you got any questions for him, you can just pop these questions in if you'd like, because I can see comments and stuff. And if you got a question for Mr. Hazan, I'll be glad to ask it for you. Right here, Jason Flame just said hello to you.
hi,
Mr.
Jason.
Hazan. Remember Jason, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yes.
I can
So,
tell you something very nice about the concept. When you are young and somebody is kicking you, you will block with very hard and strong hand defense. When you get older a little bit, you will just move a little bit and block again. When you are old, you will move and you will not block. When you are very old, when you start the kick, you already know that you want to kick. So when you finish, you are already not there.
yeah.
So the impact is not the necessary right way. When you get older, you can use your skills in a way that you don't use your force. And I take this concept to the Krav Maga, and I say every time I say it, if a 12 years girl cannot do it, it's not Krav Maga.
That's true. That's true. So Miss Ashley's on here. You remember Ashley Sage, my black belt here.
Yeah, of course. I
Her
actually,
question is, Mr. Hazan, do you work with children? I think you have a good children's program there, I believe. And I believe, Carson Fortner here, if you listen to our last one, he's kind of a pioneer when it comes to special needs. And I'm almost positive I've seen special needs children in your academy also. So, you got a good children's program right now there too, correct?
Yeah, I all my life teach kids because kids are the most beautiful mirror of you,
Right.
and you always learn from them because the most difficult questions about things in martial arts come from kids, and they make you always thinking, always developing, and always moving forward. And the satisfaction that I have with kids, it's like, when I take a kid at 4 years old and I see him after 20 years, like, like a gorilla, and
Yeah.
and and I see what become of him, and I see he became a better man, a better husband, a better father. So I know that something inside his soul is a piece of me, and it's something that not any present in the world could give you this feeling. So, and
Yeah, I
and for
definitely.
me, my point of view is I don't look at them as kids when I teach them, because they bleed, they got injured, and they start to cry, and they look about their parents. No, you don't go to your parents, you will dry your tears and you continue. And that's way of teaching in my club. It's from 4 years old. And one time I had here two girls from Bo's club that came
Right.
to Israel with the parents, and they came to see a practice in my dojo in Israel. So, and they saw a class, a fighting class of children, and they saw the children with eyes and with blood and everything, and they say, "Oh my God, this will not happen in USA." So I said, okay, but the mentality is what I believe in. That's what I teach.
Yeah, well, and we've had that discussion, right?
Yes.
We've had that discussion about preparing kids for the real world or a fake world. It's up to you as an instructor what you're going to do. What you're going to push them, and then it's up to a parent to allow us to do the let them grow with us, or find, like you said, McDonald's, right?
I prefer to lose money
Hmm.
and not to lose my way of teaching and my beliefs. So if somebody think it's too tough for him or whatever, no problem. You can go and do something else. But lucky me, the people who come to me, they want it. Because in
Right.
Israel, they want it. They want to be tough. They want to be strong. They are from 5, 6 years old. They are already thinking about the army, and they say to you, "I want to be a fighting soldier. I want to be four. I want to be strong. I want to be like you." So, it's more easy to deal with the mentality with kids in Israel than when I go to other places and teach. So I'm getting softer when I go teach after in other places, because I know it's not the same request, and it's not the same mentality.
Yeah, I listen. That's it's well said, and I think a lot of all the martial arts school owners on here is 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 with their hands up and beautifully said, because we know exactly what you're saying. I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the different life that you have where you live, where kids at 5 year olds are thinking that, hey, I got to serve in this army, and they know that that's what they have to do. They know they have to know how to fight, and it's already bred into your culture that at 5 years old, I'm going to be a soldier, and I want to know how to take care of myself and who I'm with. It's just well said, and I'm sure it's eye opening and ear opening uh, when you hear you speak, because we I don't think people really know how blessed we are here in the United States anyway. Um, in just how spoiled maybe we are. You know what I'm saying? So that was yeah, that's just well said. Really well said. Before before our break, we talked a little bit. There's something about you that that we have in common. I didn't know that you had. I knew you were on some blood thinners also, but I didn't know you had in your legs, just like I did, having that. Um,
DVT.
yeah, that DVT, and yours were in your legs, and we spoke about that a little bit, right? We speaking, and then you told me, you asked me about my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I was talking about Sergio, my instructor, that he's another, combat vet and just a like-minded mindset. Because I think at my age, and we spoke about this, that sometimes you're losing that warrior spirit, and you're feeling lost. And then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came into play, and it was something I was allowed to practice because I wasn't taking big blows to the head. You know what I mean? And so it gave me that fighting spirit back that I was missing. And so we spoke a little bit. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your journey? What's your thought? I thought what you talked about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, how it just kind of saved you. Why don't you give me a little bit of feedback from what you did? Because I believe, Danny, you were telling me that even when you tested, it was you were 50 years old when you were doing, and on blood thinners, correct?
Yes.
When you were doing.
I was only recovering something like 6 months recovering from my first DVT. I was 1 month in hospital, and after in August I have done my first black belt in kickboxing, and in September I had my DVT, and I was 1 month in hospital. It was very tough, very painful, and then I started to recover myself with practice, slowly, step by step, and 6 months later I have done my black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So my master was very, very, I don't know if pedant is the same name in English, but it was very strict. And my black belt was with 194 techniques, because I have it on my paper, signed. And when I finished after 5 hours and 15 minutes, I already almost finished the test. And then I had to do some fights, some real fights. But in Jiu-Jitsu, they fight me. I don't fight them. I just neutralize them in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu techniques. So I'm not allowed to punch them back. So all my face was blooded, my nose was bleeding, everything was bleeding. And in that period of time, it was forbidden to me any impact, any blood, any injury at all, because it was like a matter of life saved. And my master looked at me and he told me, "Okay, Danny, no problem. We will continue the test next year." So I said, "No way." So I just put some, like paper inside my nose, and I continued the fight, and I finished the fight. Lucky me, the blood stopped, and I finished the test. It was very, very emotional moment for me. And even when we do the ceremony, even my father was in the ceremony. It was very excited for me, because I don't remember any black belt that I have done, and I have done 8 from them, that I was so emotional like I have done this one in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Because the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu story with me started when my students have done Sambo. Oh, that's what I forgot about my black belt. Combat Sambo.
Yes.
So my students learn Combat Sambo and Judo. And then we have participated in Abu Dhabi Wrestling Championship in Israel. There is a branches.
Right. Yes, all right.
So I took 6 of my best students to the Abu Dhabi competition. No one won. Everybody lose. It was the first time in my career that my students lose. And I said, that's it. Now I will learn Jiu-Jitsu. Now I will learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I started to search about a master. So I saw one master, and I go inside and I see his master giving me a certificate. So I go to this master and I saw in the internet his master giving him a certificate. And then I go and I saw Joe Morera. And I just click Joe Morera, the internet explode. So I
Mm-hmm.
took a phone, I called him. I said, how can I be your representative in Israel? I will not forget what he told me. He told me, you need to come here and wipe the map. You need to come here and wipe the map, the mat. Wipe the mat, yes. I didn't understand what he meant, but when I got there, I was 14 days, 8 hours in the mat, only him and me. Every day.
Oh,
Every day. And because this seminar, I met Bo. Because I was already in USA, and then I came to Bo's school, and they made a gun disarm class. So Bo asked me if I want to show something. I said okay, and then I show my gun technique, and I remember very very good something Bo said to the one who was holding the gun. So I said to him, "Hold the gun, man." I said, "But I tried to hold the gun. I cannot hold it." So that was the first impression when I came to the USA, and then one day later, Bo invited me in the evening, in Friday evening, to do a little seminar there,
right.
and then from there, it's only history.
Yeah, I remember him calling me afterwards, and we discussing that we think we found an instructor that we can come under, and you had things that we were looking for. We were looking for somebody with a traditional background, with high integrity, and this awesome technique, right? So we can develop relationship with you, not just not just a cert, right? Just not a certificate, right? And we wanted to be able to take your lineage and be a representative here in the United States of authentic Krav Maga, authentic Israeli Krav Maga underneath you. And I think we've done well. I think we've done well for you, sir. I hope you're proud of both of us.
I'm proud from the first seminar,
Yeah,
because it took some courage to leave everything behind and to decide a very brave decision to start something from zero with somebody that you don't know, and you have done this, and and you take the new concept and you started step by step to teach your students about it, and invite me to seminar so your students also will understand the concept. So it's something that you build it brick by brick by brick, and now when I see your techniques, when I see Bo's techniques, when I see his students' techniques, eh, that's the idea of martial arts. I always say that I teach the one who haven't born yet.
right. Yes, that's a great concept. What you're talking about right there. We have taught people that have not even been born yet. That is beautifully said. I'm
That's the
sure everybody can
idea.
agree with that.
That's the idea, because if you will leave something in this world that is strong and is good, so your student will be your representative way way after you will gone. So you already teach something, even if you are not there, or even if it doesn't born yet. So that's the idea. That's the idea of how strong I believe in my way, in my techniques, in my way of life.
Yeah, it's been a distinct pleasure having you. This is why I wanted to do this today to people to you, because we haven't been able to have you because of the pandemic out here for, I think, going on 2 years now. And I
Yes.
don't even think you've been able to go see Bo School out in Idaho yet.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah. So, we're looking forward to that coming about for sure. And I just wanted to hit, one thing we hit too is I wanted to say thanks, because I really appreciated we spent about 15, 20 minutes before we went live a little bit, just kind of catching up a little bit. And talking a little bit about what it's like to have developed people underneath you, and for all better purposes, right? They kind of turn your back on you and stuff like that. I thought it was beautifully said, as just in martial arts, how you just kind of got to be like like water coming off a duck. You got to kind of let things go and move forward to those that want to learn what you have. And I believe that Bo's development out in Idaho once he's left here, and I'm not sure if we got. I'm pretty sure you've met all of my guys. I've got this core group of guys that all have schools, right? Of black belts that's been with me since they're children, and now they're teaching the EICMA Krav Maga, which you gave us, in their own schools now, including to children. So you're right. You were right about your statement. You definitely have been teaching people that haven't even been born yet, because now I'm in the same realm as you. I'm getting students that have been married now and bringing their children to us. There's a few of us like that online now. So it's just been an awesome. I can't wait for you to come back out here, because you know how I like to. I'm going to do some TikToks of you, though. You must make for shock. And so telling the stories with you has been it's just been fun, man. I just enjoy myself immensely with it. And so we have, Ashley was asking here. You remember Ashley? She was asking, yes, how's the pandemic had an effect on you in Israel? What's happened with your academy, and what is it like out there right now?
So this is one more lesson for a martial artist.
Right, you're right about that.
How to deal with some difficulties in life. But in Israel, we was the first to go out, and then the first to go in the lockdowns. But now something like 5 million are already vaccinated. So I already do the 2 shots, and I'm vaccinated. And only now we open from the lockdown, and my students allowed to come here only if they are already vaccinated. So in Israel, you have like a green little card that show that you are vaccinated. And whenever you are going, you must show it. And then in that way, everybody see that you are vaccinated and everything is okay. But it was a very difficult year, because as you see, I was moving to the new place, very big one. And this one, I was moving in February when the COVID only started. So I put everything inside here, and suddenly everything was closed. I couldn't do nothing. So it was like 1 year, 1 month practicing, 2 months not doing nothing. So it was very difficult. But the government, after a while, started to help economically to people with business, just to stay alive, just to stay and not closing the business. But a lot of businesses in Israel, a lot of gyms, a lot of dojos closed the dojo permanently, because they couldn't suffer the losses of the economical situation, students that don't come back. So it was very difficult, and I believe it's the same everywhere. So
yeah,
the idea is not how to fall, how to get up. So we are trying to get up, always with a smile, and always we say thank you for what we have, and we are not trying for what we not have, because that is loss.
Yeah, that's well said. And so I didn't know that about Israel either. They're having to show that you're vaccinated. How'd that go? Did any side effects from you? Is it all good?
No, all
Nothing.
good. No,
it's all good.
I thought I had a tail, But no,
Well, you see, I keep thinking I'm going to turn into the Hulk right behind me, like I do half the time. If I've gotten the shot, I haven't done that yet. I know that Kathy has, my girl has, but uh, I have not. She got her second shot. Uh,
because I work with people, I don't take the chance. I have
yeah,
done it. I don't want on my conscience somebody will be ill because of me. So I have done the shots. Everyone who came to my club is already fascinated. So in that way, we are.
I thought listening to your story about
Thank you, Jason.
looking back at your story about taking all your students to a tournament, right? This is about your mindset that I like. This is when I say we're kind of cut out of a same mold is uh, when you said you took them there and everybody lost, and that was something that you have not experienced, and then you took um, this worst experience and situation, you took a lesson from it, and then you just turned it around. And then you yourself was the leader that went and learned it yourself in order to um, further your students. You saw a weakness, you got on the horse yourself and did it. I think that speaks volumes about who you are as our mentor and instructor and teacher. It's even hard to say instructor. It's a teacher. I revere you guys more as a teacher than I do just an instructor. There's life lessons that come with it, and all of my teachers, from Dennis Ichikawa to Farbors to Danny Hazan to Sergio Machado, these real teachers in my life that has allowed me to have the school we are. We definitely have. Um, we definitely have an emotional set on I'm trying to think of the words, man. It's like you said, martial arts is just part of me. I just don't know how else to make it and feel blessed that we have you as our instructor. I mean, Bo and I have spent many hours with you, and Bo has I know that he's watching right now and can't wait to have you come out again. We'll make sure that he has it. So, as we get ready to wind this up, I want to give you, you have such good insight on everything. I want to talk about what is the number one takeaway from our discussion today you'd like our listeners to take away from our discussion? I mean, what's the number one takeaway you think that how we could wind this up today and how your thought process?
If you are a martial artist, behave like one in all aspects of life.
Yeah.
That's very important in all aspects of life. In your inside house, in your job, in the car when somebody is uh, making the siren or something. Be a martial artist. Be a martial artist not only when you are putting your gi and your belt. Be a martial artist in your life. Behave like that. Train every day. Every day. It doesn't matter if you are ill, if you are injured, if you are pissed off. Train every day. You can train 10 minutes, you can train 2 hours, but train. Because I always say there isn't any bad training, only bad day without training.
Right. True.
So train every day. Be a good example to your students. I work very hard. I work from 6 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night, and I always find myself time only for me to train, because I always say to my students, one day I will be old, I cannot demonstrate, but I will always ask from you things, only things that I have done not things that I didn't know or didn't experience, because I cannot have the conscience and the integrity to ask for my students things to do that I didn't do. So always we say the instructor must be very strong. No, you don't have to be strong. You don't have to be athletic. You don't have to be with muscles or bodybuilder. He just have to have knowledge. You take from him the knowledge, the experience. So experience is the most valuable things for you to give to your students. And experience will come only if you experience on yourself. So I said, always train, always be a good example. One day you cannot demonstrate any technique. I can have a very good story about it. I had a motorcycle accident and I couldn't move. I was only on the floor. I couldn't see it. I couldn't lie. Nothing. I was, neutralized with pain. And we had 1 week to Israeli Karate Championship. I was sitting on the mat, only sitting, and only by verbal demonstration and explanation, I teach a new kata to one of my students. Only by speaking.
Right.
These students took the first place in Israel Championship with this kata. That moment was for me the moment I said, okay, you are a good instructor.
Yes.
You know how to teach. So that's the experience that you had to have if you want to be a good instructor. And this kind of experience will come only if you experience it on your body, on your mind, on your soul. So I said I will never teach something to my student that I didn't experience it on my own. So
yeah, well, that's words of an awesome teacher for sure. And I know how I've had that. I remember having an IV for something years back and having to still teach class. I'm kind of wheeling this thing around, being able to talk somebody through something. And so I get exactly what you're saying. I think that's a testament to who you are as a teacher, the love you have for your students, the love that you have for, I know that your new academy has a lot of fitness equipment now. So I know that you're trying to change lives through fitness and just like, the transformation I did, it had to do with those blood clots, and it played some mind games on me for sure, because it took me 6 months to get out of my own head to make a change. It didn't happen overnight, and it's still happening now. It's a progressive of ups and downs. Weeks that you're doing well, weeks you're not doing well. But I guess that's what we are in martial arts, right? And the training every day, without it, I don't know what. I'm not really sure I would be a basket case without it, for sure. Making a gym in my home when this pandemic hit here was probably the best thing that I ever did, because that's what I use mostly now anyway. And I don't know. Your words have been super encouraging to me. I couldn't be more proud, but Bo's on here also with us. We couldn't be more proud to be hired black belts underneath you and continue your legacy here in the United States as your American ambassadors. I hope we do you proud. And I know we have Georgia people are on here, that's on the East Coast. You would love, at some point, you will get you to Carson Fortner's school. He has got a beautiful, his mat is 100 feet long. This new facility that he has built is just absolutely beautiful. And Joe, getting ready to retire from the military now, will be taking over the Krav Maga portion of that school out there, and it's just going to be amazing. We're when we get you to the States, we're gonna get you around so you can see. It's hard because you kind of right in it, you don't really realize what you're building, when you're just sitting right in it and what's happening around you and because of you. And so I'm hoping if there's anybody else here that got a question before I want I wrap it up with you. But if somebody wants to find you, Danny, what's your best? Where are you on social media? Are you on
Facebook and Instagram.
On Facebook and Instagram?
Yes.
And it's under
as if my name here, Danny Hazan. This is on Facebook. DANNY Hazan.
So I just put out there, right? You're right there.
Yes.
So Danny, yeah, right. Danny Hazan.
And in Instagram, it's Hazan Academy.
And on Instagram, IG, let me put that out here for people. Instagram is Hazan Academy. You put that up there also. Right? Is that correct? Hazan Academy is on IG, Instagram. Okay. I encourage you guys, if you want to go follow Mr. Hazan, he'll be glad to answer any other questions that you guys have also. So, more than happy to go friend him. He always has some of his highlights going on. I always like watching your highlights. So the last one you put on, I'm like, wow, I kind of remember that day. This is at one of Bo's schools way back in the day. We're working on rifle one day, and I seeing that clip from way back in the day was just like, man, that was awesome. And I know Bo got to be lucky. He got to go to Israel and visit you one time, and I know that we
you should come and eat hummus in Israel.
Yeah. I'm telling you that this is
and
on
also falafel.
I'm telling you that this is something that I'm going to is on my bucket list to do. I mean, Bo and I, we really actually right before the pandemic, we were really trying to set something together where there's a group of 10 or 12 of us that are going to come out. Yes. And, of course, the pandemic's got to go ahead and take all that away. But I'll tell you this, most of our instructors that have schools has fought through this pandemic. And I believe it's the leadership of the strong. We will overcome anything that is in our way. We will go through. And, I was there, I was going to be, I'll be damned if, that's Bo. I'll be damned if I would be, after 30 years of building something that is just going to go to the wayside. It's just not. And I got to put a shout out to Jay Walker. He's the one that is running my Simi Valley school. I mean, for all purposes, that's his school. I mean, he does all the work there. He does all the teaching. Those are his students. But himself, he works in the medical field. And after that, he's got all these kids outside. In California, I'm inside, but in Chatsworth, I'm inside. But out there, they're doing all this outside, and he's maintained that school. And, Jason Flame, same thing. And Brandon Kemp. I mean, we did what we had to do. We fought through what we need to fight. And Krav Maga, believe it or not, has been a very pivotal point in all of our schools. That it's what's growing the most. And all those men underneath me and women that are practicing, we are carrying on your legacy. I couldn't be more proud to be with you. I look forward to you coming out again. And, and I'm sure Bo does too. Yeah, Bo put in there that falafel in Jerusalem is the best, and we will be back. So, listen, we had pretty much 20 sometimes 25, 30 people listening to this the whole day, Danny, just so you know. There's 21 comments. You'll be able to go on Facebook. If you want to answer to anybody here, Danny, you just go on the comments on Facebook, because this will be the video will be downloaded. I'll have the audio portion of this. It will be on my for you guys. You just hold this phone here for a second. If you go to my Instagram, is that at Real Talk with Mark Cox, and then YouTube is Real Talk with Mark Cox, and my Facebook is Mark Cox 100. This stuff will be here, and it will be so if you want to listen to it in your car or something like that, just the audio portion will be downloaded onto my podcasting, and YouTube and Facebook will have the video. I'll make sure you have that. You have access to all that too, Mr. Hazan, and make sure you put it out on your platform for everybody to see. I hope your day is awesome. I enjoyed this.
Thank you.
I
Thank you very
think
much.
a round 2 would be awesome. In a few months from now, and when we're kind of opened a little bit more, I think we should come back on. And I'd like to dive into your fitness and your fighting, because what we didn't get to talk about today is that you actually have fighters there that you're training in the ring. I've seen some of the guys go in and fight, and really the well-roundedness of what your academy is. Krav Maga is just a small portion of what you really kind of do. So I like to dabble into that a little bit more. Sound good?
Of course.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. That's it with Mr. Hazan. We've been here for about an hour and 5 minutes. I could sit here and talk with him for another hour and a half, but I'm sure he's got things to do. It's getting late. It's getting late. You're getting a little older, Mr. Hazan. You got to sleep in. All right. I hope everybody enjoyed this today. We'll talk real soon. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, you guys.
Thank you. Bye.